You're live.
In the interest of time, we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order here. We'll do a quick roll call here, I guess, with everyone here. So we'll jump down to the third CD, Commissioner McClellan.
Present.
Okay. Commissioner Ramp from the fifth CD.
Present.
Okay. From the sixth.
Present.
Phillips from the eighth.
Present.
Okay. And we'll keep the door open here, keep an eye out for anyone else who is able to make it. And so today what we wanted to do is kind of catch everybody up with some of the discussion of the maps that we released preliminarily, as well as talk you through some of the stuff that we've been doing as a subcommittee of the line drawers subcommittee, and kind of talk about some of the changes that needed to be made just based on some of the feedback that we've gotten, as well as some information regarding our release plans and the remaining timeline that we have as of right now. And so it looks like the first bullet point is a discussion of our original draft maps. And so from some of the feedback that we've gotten thus far, there was some feedback regarding, some of the partisan split. We didn't get as much feedback in terms of, needing to make one side more robust than the other. But more so, one of the glaring critiques that we get was more so along the lines of representation with the minority population, specifically in the Milwaukee area. We're looking through some of the data between Assembly District Map 1, 2, and 3. And in each one of them, I believe the most that we had initially was for primarily majority African American voting age population, being 40 plus up. As well as I believe we had one in each one of Hispanic American voting age population as well. And so that was something that we, as a line drawer subcommittee, it seems like all the days are blending together. I believe that was last night, correct, guys? We went through to try to see if we could work with Wyatt to kind of see if we can make those numbers more robust and increase the footprint of those populations. And so that was something that we were focusing in on. We kind of took that to the Senate districts as well. So we got some refinement of that draft. Now, essentially, that was map 2 that we were looking at primarily yesterday. I don't know if you guys had anything else, Tony and Emery, to mention in that respect as well.
You're going to give a conclusion. I mean, it was successful.
Yeah. No, definitely was successful. We're going to submit them to the MGGG lab for further analysis. But in the end of it, we were able to get 7 minority majority districts in the African American community, and we're able to get 2 Hispanic American voting age population districts as well. And so we were able to, so just to kind of catch you guys up as well, this is kind of like a rapid fire that we got in the last couple of days from the Tufts lab, but we were able to get a community of interest toggle on our districtor software. So if you guys go on there now, it's actually published for everyone to view. You can turn on and off the communities of interest. It's really cool in that you can see where those line up in terms of, the populations that are there. Specifically, we were using it to line up those populations in the Milwaukee area, and it seemed like they line up pretty nicely. One of the things that we want to do in order to, give us another layer of, refinement is to take a look at some of the opportunity districts, so to speak. So some of the candidates of choice data that we have from some prior primaries throughout the state. And so in that, we were talking to Moon, and it looked as though some of the data regarding Mandela Barnes, as well as Malin Mitchell, were stratified in a way that they were ultimately candidates of choice in some of these districts. And so to extrapolate that, it would be, not one-to-one, but more so intuitive that if those candidates would be successful in these populations, in these districts that we drew, it would be in the benefit of those districts and in the benefit of saying that, we have more VRA compliance than we did prior. And so as of I guess 20 minutes ago when I talked to Jack last, it seems as though the lab is still working on putting that primary data in place, and hopefully sometime tomorrow, I believe, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometime tomorrow we'll be able to have that available as an additional toggle.
So yeah, Moon actually told me it would be late tonight. And so what I think, if you guys don't mind me just interjecting a process, to talk about a process to make sure that the commission's okay with releasing these drafts that the line drawing committee drew. It seems to me that what needs to happen is they need to be two things. One, viewed by MGGG and given the same analysis we got for the first drafts. But two, we need that what Chris was talking about. I can go a little more into detail since I've been on these calls about the VRA and about MGG and the MGGG data, is that to judge whether candidates of choice of minority populations are able to perform in districts that the VRA implicates, you need primary data, because the general election, so for instance, almost all the districts in Milwaukee, assembly districts and Senate districts in Milwaukee, are going to perform for Democrats because people in the city tend to vote for Democrats, and people that's obviously not everybody, but by and large, and people of color, particularly the Black voting age population, tends to vote very in a block for Democrats. So you don't learn much by knowing that, say, Hillary Clinton performed in those districts. So that's why we are very lucky that Moon's able to upload primary data from Governor Evers' primary in 2018 and Lieutenant Governor Barnes's primary in 2018. She'll also be uploading, there was a Secretary of State primary in the Democratic Party. Arvina Martin was a Native American candidate from the west side of Madison that ran against Doug LaFollette, who's the longtime Secretary of State. The point is, though, that the data that Moon showed us, and that I'm going to get to how you're all going to know about it, share later, shows pretty clearly that Mahlon Mitchell, one of the primary candidates for governor, was a stark candidate of choice of minority communities. So what that, and not, and maybe more notably, not the candidate of choice for heavily white voting age population districts. So essentially, the way it goes is what the line drawers drew the districts in Milwaukee. But at this point, we can't be 100% confident until we see that primary data that they will perform for the candidates of choice of those communities. All we know right now is the Black voting age population within them, and that they vote for Democrats, neither of which is really satisfactory. The commission got some negative feedback both in the portal and in the public for reducing the number of majority minority districts, but that in and of itself, it's not that it's meaningless. That's important concerns that people have, but I think the line drawing committee took they can speak for themselves, but my gathering of what they did was that they didn't want to simply pack Black voters into districts and say, well, good enough for us. They wanted meaningful districts that followed communities, were compact, and also performed for the candidates of choice of minority populations. So right now, we can't show that's the case on the lines that they redrew, but I'm thinking even in the next few hours, it will be able to. And once that's the case, I think that maybe the best thing to do would be for me to put together all the statistics about each of those districts. That is, what happens in Mahlon Mitchell's primary, what happens in Lieutenant Governor Barnes's primary, to ensure that they, and just show the way that is. And with the line drawer's permission, what I'd want to do then is to send it to the whole commission, just so that they have it in front of them. At some point, though, I think that they can't be released in the commission's name without the commission being okay with it, not just the line drawers, which would require another working meeting. It would have been great to both have that data tonight, but also to have more commissioners But given the sort of hasty planning of this meeting, and that's as much to blame on me as anyone else, we don't have it. But well, and unfortunately, it's complicated stuff, and the MGGG lab has taken a while to get it up, get that data uploaded. So anyway, I just wanted to explain a little bit more about the VRA and what I know about it, and the process that I've seen the line drawers taking. And that's all I've got to say about that. So the next line on your agenda is discussion for release plan for refined draft maps. The only thing I have to add to that is twofold: sooner is better, and that a working meeting will need to be scheduled before, and it can be 20 minutes long, but it needs to be scheduled before those go out. So, unfortunately.
So could you explain the implications to District 5 for changing these, or can we take a look at it?
I'm going to have to let the line drawers talk about the congressional districts. I know that they have 3 plans, and I know that they'd like to winnow it down to 2, but they want to see Moon's analysis first.
Okay.
I don't have any clue what happens to
It's a
District
premature
5.
question at this point.
Yeah, and so, but so I really do want to let them answer the question, but the VRA, Voting Rights Act, and the majority minority question is, I mean, there are parts, I think, of District 5 that might be current District 5 that might be implicated, but for the most part, we're talking about parts of the current 4th district in Milwaukee County.
I just imagine that the edges of 5 are affected.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's And now
it's kind of like last time Susan was about saying last time, kind of the 2010 distribution. It's a very small portion of 5 that's affected by it, but it's more so in order to kind of keep compliance with the VRA. It's not tearing into it for to maintain any population, or to maintain a population within a specific parameters. More so just to comply with our non-negotiable of maintenance of the VRA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's we'll distribute. It's our, as a subcommittee, it was our goal to send it out to everyone. We're hoping to get it, throughout the day today. That way we can have it just to give to you guys in this meeting here. But it's been pushed back, so
with everybody's permission, what I think I should do maybe is send the refined Assembly and Senate drafts and all of those congressional drafts to the full commission. And then as we get the information from Moon, send that along as well. That'll be a day or 2 later. Does that seem reasonable? All 3 of those congressional drafts?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because the line drawers did make, I think, I didn't look at them. I saw that they existed, but did make some revisions to congressional drafts. So the commission would want to see them.
There's a lot of information. Any other questions that you guys have?
When are we thinking about the working meeting to, so we're saying we're gonna have a working meeting to approve maps to send out to the public again for comment, right?
Right.
But not all of them, right? Just, are we sending, I mean, there's 2 sets of Assembly, 2 sets of Senate, and 3 congressional. Are we sending all those out to the public for comment?
We're sending 2 of each, ultimately.
2 of each.
Yeah.
We'll have,
2 of
so
each.
the choice will be the Congress, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that was kind of just in going back, just to catch you guys up to one of the discussions that we had in the subcommittee was we had a couple different ones that we were pulling from in terms of the congressional district maps that met our criteria in various manners, but we wanted to make sure that we have analysis just to kind of see beyond kind of the hey buddy, beyond what we're seeing on the map here, what the interpretation, what the analysis would be. So from that, we'll kind of pull from it. Bad time is going on right now. So.
I guess my question is to help people, some of us are, into this with the line drawers. We know the data, others haven't been so close to the data. Do we need to send not just the map URLs, but some information about each one to our other commissioners, like the basics, like county splits and the lean and the swing districts and all that, to let them be able to make comparisons. I mean, I guess for Susan and Melissa, would that be helpful, or are you guys able to assess these maps?
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I get the sense it would be helpful.
Definitely.
Well, whether that comes from Chris or the one of the line drawers or me, I'd be happy to help compile all that for these drafts and put it into a document for everybody to look at.
Well, I can help work on that, Jack.
Of course.
Yeah. We've got it for the congressional. I mean, we've got it for all of them. We just need to put it in one document. I mean, the nice thing,
go for it, Tony.
Comment, in working on the VRA, a little bit of concern, like, okay, what are we going to do to the other parameters? I mean, county splits and the basics, cut edges and proportionality, et cetera. And the bottom line is none of that changed. So that was good. So.
Yeah, I'll just add, and I can share this also with this new tool with the communities of interest. If you take a look at it, and they're quite broad in some of the areas. They're large pieces. Some of them a big chunk of the state's multi units of it. And anyway, so I went through today and just looked at each. There's 36 COI clusters that they identified and that you can look at. And just as a rough estimate with our 3 congressional districts, just took a look at them, but then also just kind of tabulated how many of these how many congressional districts it took to keep those COI clusters together, right? Some of them are very small and it's easy to fit in one of our congressional districts. Some of them are really large and it took up to 5 different congressional districts to keep that community of interest together. And those lines are not hard and fast if you look at the descriptions and stuff like that. It's kind of a rule of thumb thing that I just put together and then added up the number of districts that needed to be used to keep those COIs intact, if that makes sense, and just sum them. So the thought to me is the lower that number is, it means that we've kept COIs more intact at the congressional district level, right? Does that make sense? So I have that in an Excel table and I'll just send that out to everybody to just assist in your evaluation.
One more comment. We probably have a lean toward which assembly map and Senate map, in the end, but we truly don't for the congressional maps. That's why there's 3 of them being assessed. And so again, for Melissa and Susan, if this weekend you could take a look at those and look at the data we're going to give you, because we're going to have to make a decision on the congressional districts maps. There's just some choices we're going to have to make, is what I'd say. So, and when we send it to the other commissioners, we might want to say that, Jack, like, this is truly where we're going to need a decision.
Okay.
To get back to your original question, Tony, in terms of the working meeting, Jack and I were, with the data to be available tonight in order to compare those primaries, we still may be in a position to submit to the Tufts lab tomorrow, those maps for interpretation. And then we would want everyone to at least, have a look at that interpretation to kind of see how the numbers line up. And so, as Jack was saying, whether it be, 20-minute meeting or whatever, perhaps Monday either Monday evening, to see if we can turn that around. But it will be up to everyone's availability as well, but somewhere in that range.
Mhm. Do you work Monday, Chris?
I do, but we can make it happen if it's 20-minute meeting.
It's okay. I'm actually going to a political thing Monday, but I can work around it. I won't give names. I can call in at the least.
Yeah, I have availability, and I don't know if anybody, like if tomorrow anybody wants to look at some of those the primary data in those.
Yeah, I can
mailboxes.
help. I can do that.
Maybe
anyway.
if we do it together, it might be quicker.
Sure. If we have it, I can do it. Yep.
Yeah, we can figure that out in the morning.
So that means, Jack, we might need a Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that, I think.
All right. What time are you thinking Monday, guys or ladies?
Well, evening was initial thought, right? But
What? I didn't hear that.
evening was the initial
Evening,
thought. So
yeah.
sometime around this time.
Yeah, it would work.
And Susan's going to be in Europe. I have to say, I don't think the rest of the commission, I wonder how you guys feel about this, would have a problem with her sending an email with her thoughts on like specific questions, like, is it okay to release the Assembly and Senate drafts, and which of her two are the votes for the congressional? Because, if it was 6 members doing that, I would have concerns, but I just want to throw that out there that I don't know. I appreciate, Susan, very much your devotion and willingness to call in, but I think that if you reviewed everything that the line drawers sent out tomorrow, when you have a chance before the meeting, and sent a clearly worded email to the whole commission, that would be sufficient. And of course, if you want to get on the call,
Okay, yeah,
but
I'll see.
I'm
Okay,
thinking about you being in Europe. That's all.
yeah.
the
I'm
time
just
change
checking
and all
my
that.
phone right now. I've never gotten my email on my phone before. I'm just checking to see if I can get it to work. Just concerned if I'm going to have my connectivity and everything at the right time. So,
Right.
okay.
Well, do you guys want to tentatively schedule it, or would you like me to send an email to everybody with options?
Schedule it.
I think that's right.
At this point, yeah.
Well, my sort of assumption was later in the evening was, although not enjoyable, a time where people were more likely to be available. Like, for instance, I know why Elizabeth's not here, and that's because she's at a Fair Maps event in Lake Geneva tonight. So, later's less likely to do that, but I can understand why you might not want to do that. I'll be available, whenever you need me.
I think 7:30 is good again, if that's what you're thinking.
That works for me.
It's like 1:30 or 2 in the morning in Europe.
Yeah. Well, I am able to get my email on my phone, so that's good. It looks like.
Oh, good.
So,
Melissa, is 7:30 okay with you, or is that something you can swing?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is maybe Chris or we can call some other commissioners, or if ever I'm trying to be helpful. I don't need to be the one doing this stuff, but
No. We appreciate it. I'll reach out to the other commissioners too and kind of see what their availability is tomorrow.
Sheriff Ford, I'll call Ruben as well, just because that's kind of the crucial thing about the congressional maps. The one would split Madison, and that's the decision, kind of. So that's what we want to talk to Ruben about. So I'll also work on him.
Okay. The last bullet point is the discussion of the remaining timeline that we have going on right now. And I know that everyone got the doodle. Has everybody been able to fill out their time and date that we have? We're trying to get it before November 4th because Tony has a family trip, has to go see his mom. So we want to make sure we get it in before that. So. Those dates, end of October, early November is essentially going to be, the date that we're planning in order to submit. And so we're hoping to, with this release, that we'll have its refined draft to at least give 5 days of public feedback from it, and to kind of do press releases around it as well. But it's essentially we're not too far away at this point in time. So. Any other questions or anything you guys have? Questions, comments? All right. Have a great trip. I'll see you guys on Monday. It sounds like, and probably before that line draw. So. By the way,
Chris, what's your schedule this weekend?
So I am. Let's see. I am working. Like I'm 2 to 10, Saturday and Sunday.
So just in case we need to update you or something, or just keep each other communicating. Okay.
I'll keep some earbuds on me. So. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah, safe travel, Susan. Have fun.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, have fun, Susan.
Thanks, guys.